Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gorgeous Gray Movement YouTube channel. My name is Nicole Scott, and as you guys know, every week I do a new interview so that you can be inspired by like-minded women that are moving into the direction of letting their natural hair color come through. My dear friend, MaryLisa, we have known each other for many, many years. Thank you, MaryLisa, for joining today.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Yes. And so you
Sure.
guys are looking at MaryLisa and going, well, she doesn't have gray hair. Why are you interviewing her? And
Yeah.
so let's talk about this. So MaryLisa, I think would be, I'm glad we're having this conversation because MaryLisa's hair color, so she has allowed her natural hair, gray, like the color of gray, silver, to come in. And it's really probably hard to see on camera, but if you follow her on social media, you'll probably get to see more. So MaryLisa has these like sparkles that are growing through. So it's been 3 years where she, hasn't dyed her hair. And I love that because I do get a lot of women that say, well, Nicole, I only have a little bit of gray, so I'm still going to dye my hair because I'm not like you are. So this is going to be a great interview for those women that are like, what do I do when I start to have these silvers come through? Do I let them come through? Do I pluck them? Do I dye them? And so MaryLisa's story is going to be great. Now, I do want you guys to follow her for some more inspiration. So I'm just going to read you her tag. It's Nourish Me _ health and
Wellness. Yeah.
So MaryLisa is a nutritionist. She empowers women 40 plus to have more energy and live a vibrant life. She offers perimenopausal health, digestive health, and disease prevention. And she also has Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. So great channel to follow for more inspiration beyond the gray hair. So MaryLisa, let's dive in today. So first question, 3 years ago, you decided to stop dyeing your hair. Let's go on that journey. What made you decide to just stop it and let those sparkles come through?
Well, I guess it was, after I'm 49 now. So after 45, it was kind of like, I don't know, something happens at 45. I don't know if you can relate, but like, it was sort of the time where, the body starts changing and you just don't take BS from anyone. Can you relate? And you just kind of start like, just kind of doing what's right for you. And I always felt like, even though like, especially in the last, I guess 5 years before I stopped dyeing my hair, I was using like better stuff for the most part, but I just felt like it wasn't like, first of all, it was for the health part of it, right? Because I didn't like the idea of putting the chemicals on. And the before women leave the house, they got like 500 different chemicals on them, right? So it felt like this, and I didn't have to dye it that often. It was maybe every 3 months or whatever, but it was just that almost like a authenticity thing for me too, because I'm not like, I'm wearing makeup today, but like, I'm really like a wash and go girl. Like I've never been into fake nails. I've never been into like fake eyelashes or anything like that. And I just felt like that I wasn't being true to myself. So it's always kind of in the back of my head. And then you started your journey, which really inspired me to think like, hey, I could, kind of follow along with Nicole and get that sort of, just that inspiration, right? And then I loved being a part of your Gorgeous Gray Movement group because I just felt there were other people that kind of were going through the same thing. And I didn't know what to expect. I knew that I didn't have a lot of gray, but I just thought, what the hell? And from the beginning, I always said, maybe it's not going to be forever. And that's the thing, right? Like maybe I'll just try it for like a few months, right? This was before COVID, right? So it wasn't like, you were hibernating or anything. I was just like, let me just try this and see. I could change my mind in 4 months or whatever, right? But I actually liked how my hair was growing in. It was healthier. And I just felt more authentic. Like I felt like I didn't have to, I used to always dye my hair sort of like a auburn kind of reddish, like a dark brown red color, but I hated the way it would grow out because it was always like that brassy kind of, get too light and it wasn't right for my complexion. So I always felt like I was I'd look at clothes and it'd be like, oh, that's not going to go with my complexion because it would clash with my hair because it had that sort of like, like orangish tone or whatever, right? So I feel like I don't need to worry about that as much anymore. But yeah, it was definitely the health side, number one. Number two, it was the authenticity side for my own self. Like I just felt like as things went on, I just felt more true to myself. So those were sort of the reasons why. Yeah.
I love that. Health and authenticity. And especially because you're a nutritionist, I am a nutritionist. There's something to be said about us kind of walking the talk the best that we can. And it can be that simple choice of, changing over our products to be able to coach other people to say, well, if we're doing it, you can do it too.
Yeah.
But also to, well, first off, I want to ask you, how many gray strands approximately do you think you have on your head? And I ask that because some people will say, well, I only have a few, so I'm just going to pluck them. Did you start plucking and then did you? Yeah, look at that. She's like, yeah, let's talk about that.
Let me tell you a story. This is probably something that hindered my kind of wanting to stop, coloring my hair. I'd say probably around 15 years ago. So this was like, I was still like maybe like, my 30s, whatever. I had the odd, the ones that would kind of stick up or whatever. And I had this boss at the time who I loved. And he came over to my desk and he goes, hold on a second. And he goes to my head and he literally plucks out a gray hair. Like, I was like mortified. Like I was just like, and at that time, yeah, like when I'd see one, it was like, oh yeah, like I would definitely pluck it out. And then it just, they became too much to do that. So, and I don't know, maybe it's that old wives' tale, right? If you pluck it, then there's more going to come out. I don't know, right? But yeah, I would say definitely in the beginning, yeah, like in my like early 30s or whatever, like I was doing that. And and like just as it grew out, like I would watch and another thing that helped along the journey, not just being a part of your group, but just following some other women on Instagram, right? That just were killing it with like, it just looks so beautiful. And like, so my goal is to grow it long and to have like yours, right? Just have like, this beautiful silver, hair that like you're proud of, right? It's just, yeah, I was doing that in the beginning, but now there's too much. How many strands I have? Oh my God, no, I have too many to count. It's really hard to see, but.
Yeah, I know, but I've seen you on social media, right?
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely have a lot and I tend to always have my hair up.
Okay.
So you can definitely see more like there. And then when I part my hair kind of more in the middle, you can see more. But yeah.
So I think that your way of just allowing kind of like, the handful, like the 50 strands, the 100 strands that are coming through, I would say probably is a very big decision for women because it's so easy to use the excuse of I'm just not there yet. I don't have enough gray hair, and even get convinced by the hairdresser, right? Like you don't have enough to like justify your gray. I have also another really good friend who is going through the processes. She started around the same time, and I just saw her on the weekend. So you would say, oh, her hair is still dark, but when you get close up, you will see like literally it's almost like the tinsel on the Christmas tree, right? Remember when tinsel used to be in style? It's the tinsel that just like runs through it. Now, a question for you. When you were getting those grays coming out, and in the beginning, they kind of are, they're kind of like rough. The joke is when Melissa was going through that, we're like, it's like pubic hair is growing out of your head. And it's like, so what did you do to combat until, like, obviously you don't have that now, but in the beginning, what were you doing with the like crazy hairs?
I had my hair up all the time, and I still like, I always have my hair up like in a, mom bun or whatever, but, and, just not going out as much these days. Right. But definitely wearing it up like all the time helped with that. But I have to say, actually, I forgot one of the reasons why I started was also because I said to myself, I could wait another 5 years. Do I want to deal with a skunk line? So I didn't want to be in that, I knew it was going to be a lot harder, right? And I know like you went through the transition where you had to like, do all that work, right? And I just thought, what if I just let it naturally come in a little at a time, and then it would be more gradual and I wouldn't have to have that skunk line like in however many years. And my mom, it's funny, because my mom, she's 76 now. She just stopped dyeing her hair a year ago. So it's not like it was in my family. I can't even tell you amongst my cousins or amongst my family members, even my own sister, who have gone gray. It wasn't like a natural thing that people do. And when I asked my mom, like I remember, like even during COVID, when she stopped dyeing her hair a bit, I would always compliment her and say, oh my God, it looks so great. Like, look at your sparkle. That looks amazing. I said, like, why don't you let it go? Like, why don't you just let it grow out? She's like, oh, well, I would, but your dad doesn't like it. And I thought, that is a huge thing that, what is stopping women? They want to do it, but then their partners, are not, for it or whatever. And I just said, who cares? Like, what do you want to do? Right. And I remember, I think my dad like was really hesitant in the beginning, and it's like, oh, you should color your hair to her, whatever. But now it's like almost all white, and it looks great. So I just, so finally got her on board. So it was like, yeah, so I'm glad that I think myself, like showing her that it's okay, like I think helped her too. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you for that. I like the share. I like the stories. I'll share one last story. Yesterday, I was in the seniors home in town because my boyfriend's mom is there, and she's 76, the same age as your mom. She still dyes her hair. She still gets the
Yeah.
hairdresser to come in to dye her hair. But I
Yeah.
was waiting in the lobby and watching all of the, the elders go into the restaurant for dinner. And
Yeah.
I stood there in such awe and proud to represent gray at my age.
Yeah.
And I got emotional. I got really emotional because it was just like, wonder what their story is. Wonder
Yeah.
for those women, what their challenge was. When did they end up saying it was okay?
Yeah.
Did they have to do it up until a certain age because society said it? So I
Yeah.
was just like standing there, and I had my hair down, and I was just like, I'm standing here representing gray for all ages, and we don't have to define it by age. And it
Yeah.
just felt so good.
Yeah.
So any last minute tips or advice for women that are sitting on the fence, that are going to tune into this channel, that will hear your story and say, oh, I have hair like you, Mary, please, how do you do that?
I would just say you don't have to make the commitment like forever. Just give it 4 or 5 months and see how it goes. Like, just because, and I have a few friends who did the same thing. They were just like, okay, I'm just going to try it for a bit. And then if I don't like it, I can always, so just try it. Try and get to the point where it's like, the first that much is hard. Once it gets to about there, I would say people start loving it, right? When they can see like more of it, right? So yeah, just follow people like you on Instagram, join your group, the Gorgeous Gray movement, and just like follow, all those amazing women on Instagram. I love, one of them that I love is the Gray Indian. Do you follow her?
Yes.
She,
Yeah.
yeah, she does awesome reels. So yeah, I just, you don't, it doesn't have to be forever. And like, really like ask yourself why, like, why would you want to? And then see like how that feels. Yeah, that's what I would suggest.
Great. Well, thank you so much for tuning
Yeah.
into our channel and getting your story out there and inspiring more women just to jump in and say, let's try it. For
Yeah.
more of these interviews, you can go to my YouTube channel, on Instagram, no, on YouTube, which is the Gorgeous Gray Movement. And you can also go to my website, nicolescott.ca. And if you go up to the top, there are some free resources for you to grab. And one of those free resources is your guide to gray hair and transitioning. I did write a book. It's called The Gorgeous Gray Movement, and you can also grab it on Amazon to learn in detail my story, my journey, and how I was able to get to this place and discovery of who I am with this gray hair. So thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. Have a great day.
Well,
And thank you again, MaryLisa.
thanks for having me. Take care.